Hey, what up, YouTube? For those who live in the state of Illinois, you all know about the current budget problems we've had, for 3 years now, technically, I believe. Um, I'm a teacher. Now, I'm a rookie teacher. I just started teaching. And I'm pretty young, you know. I guess I can technically say that I haven't been affected too much by the BS that's going on. But I have been affected by it. I will say that there was when I was still in school, so this is probably 2 years ago when this happened. Shoot, probably not even that long ago. I want to say maybe a year and a half to 2 years ago. There was a scholarship I always got, and it's from the state. It's funded through the state. It's Minority Teachers of Illinois. Now, I was a special education major, so there was also another waiver type of thing that was out there for me to possibly get, but I never got it. Special education teachers tuition waiver. Literally, it would essentially make school free. Like, I think it just covers tuition, probably not housing and all that stuff, but still, if I ain't got to pay tuition, I'm good. It always kind of sucked to me that we have a special education teachers tuition waiver, which covers everything, but the Minority Teachers of Illinois, that scholarship only gave you $2,500 a semester, so it's $5,000 for a year. Now, I'm not being trifling. I'm not saying I wasn't thankful for when I received it. I received it, I want to say 2 years. I want to say I got it 2 years in a row, and I was going on my third. But it might have been 3 years. Nah, it had to have been 2. It couldn't have been 3. At least I don't think it was 3. But you get this. You get $5,000, so that's $2,500. Now, tuition, I went to NIU. Now, tuition at NIU ain't that cheap. I mean, for that much money, I could definitely cover a year of school at like a community college, for sure. I'm pretty sure. I don't think 12 plus credit hours would go over $2,500 at a community college. Like, actually, I know that for a fact. If I was in city colleges of Chicago, my tuition would have been paid, for sure. But because it's not the case, because I was at a state university, which was also suffering from the budget issues, it helped with my tuition a little bit, but it wasn't as much. I guess you could say that it wasn't as much. And it's crazy because I'm sitting here thinking about that's not even why I'm making this video. But the more I sit here and think about this, I'm like, it always bothered me that, honestly, when you look at the education programs in the state of Illinois, so basically when you look at every university in the state of Illinois, well, let's look at all the major universities. Let's look at more of the names you would know. You got your NIU, SIU, EIU, Western, Illinois State, Urbana-Champaign, UIC, DePaul, Loyola. You get where we're going with this. All those schools, I think every one of those schools has an education program. Pretty sure. And honestly, anybody who's an educator, the current state of things in the state of Illinois. You yourself might work in a district, in a diverse district, in an underrepresented district, and all that really means is you have a student population that's not being served in the right way, per se. It's a pretty much known fact that in the education world, the majority is Caucasian women. The majority of teachers in this nation are white women. Excuse what I got going on in the background. I thought it was lower than it was, but the majority are white women. Now, I went through NIU. I'm not sure exactly how UIC's numbers look. I'm not sure exactly how Urbana-Champaign's numbers look. But I'm willing to put good money that every cohort that these schools have coming through, it's still, at the end of the day, majority white women in those programs. I was the only black student in my cohort. There was another girl, but, due to unforeseen circumstances, she ended up having to, wait a year. So then it went from 2 to 1. I was definitely the only black male. So I was only black male in that program. There's barely any black males in my program that I ever see. So being a black male special educator is, that's a rarity. You don't see that as often. You don't see black male educators in general as often. But a black male special education teacher, you don't see it as often. Okay? You have me coming through there. I'm in my program. There was one Latina. There was one black male. Everybody else was pretty much white. And the majority of that was women. There was probably a nice handful. Honestly, there was a nice handful, probably 1, 2, 3, Yeah, I think 3 men. I think it was 3 white males, maybe 4, if I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but I shouldn't be. 3 to 4 white men, everybody else was women. It's easily is a cohort of 20-something people, So, just let that sink in mind. Now, do that same number times, and then you'll see who's going into the workforce. You'll see these numbers. Now, like I was saying, there was a scholarship that I pretty much would get by default because there were so few, I'm pretty sure there were so few people applying for it. I got it by default every time. It was money in the bank. And then here comes our budget problem. And lo and behold, the scholarship that I get, of course that's ran off the state monies, meaning no scholarship for you. And what kind of blew me was the special education teacher's tuition waiver. It was a waiver. So, in all reality of the situation with that was, because it wasn't necessarily giving the recipients money to pay for their stuff, it was more of a contractual thing that was said to the university that this person's, waived their tuition. So it wasn't necessarily money being received, but it was because these persons are going into this field, waive their tuition. Hence, they went pretty much unaffected by this. And that blew my mind. You don't have... Okay, special education field is growing, but you don't have a what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have a disparity. You don't have a huge gap in the number of people who are going into special education. Like I said, the cohort before me, and the cohort behind me, the cohort after me, had a nice number of people in it. It's not like you had 10 students. And that's just at my university. We're not counting all the other universities that offer a special education program. Now, because the population is growing, meaning there's more jobs, that's the one thing about special education. There will always be a job. There will always be an opening somewhere. It blew my mind that there's a waiver for SPED, but where you do have that very low number, where you do need to see that representation, there's no waiver. I'm going into education. Come on, man. I'm a black male special educator. But I'm a black male teacher at the end of the day, no matter how it goes. I'm a black teacher at the end of the day. We have a lot of issues because you have a lot of kids who are being miseducated, whether it be purposely or accidentally. You hear it all the time. Teachers telling kids, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. And the students, they go along with it because a lot of them have never, there's kids in these schools who probably have not had a black teacher. And that sounds crazy to be in Chicago public schools. But some of them have not had a black teacher. Some, it's probably like a 50-50. Like, there's so many different factors. There's a lot of young males who have never had a male teacher. Let alone a black male teacher. They've never had a male teacher. Maybe gym, that was it. Maybe their gym teacher, that's it. But anyways, I digress. And this is just showing you how the budget problems can affect so much more. So although in my actual professional career, I'm yet to truly be affected by budget issues because, the pension and this, that, and the other, I'm yet to truly be affected by that stuff. Maybe like 30 years from now when it's time for me to be done and I'm like, where my money at? And honestly, I'm probably not going to teach that long. I'm pretty sure I'll probably move up into administration or something. I don't know. I got my different goals and things. All right. But this is what this video was really, truly about. Because yesterday, we went into, once again, another year technically started off with no budget. Now, they put something out there that they wanted to do. And long story short, it would raise the income taxes, our personal income taxes from, what was it, let me find it real quick in like 2 seconds. I want to say it would go from 3.75% to 4.95%. And it would help raise like $5 billion. It helped raise $5 billion. Now, this is probably the only time Rauner, him saying he's going to veto something, actually, it's like, okay, you actually care about the people. Because, his response to that, I'm going to veto that. Like, no, we're not about to tax people anymore. Because, honestly, that's the issue with Illinois. We have a history that's been our history. That's what's gotten us into this problem. We got a history of, honestly, just not giving two fucks about people. So we're just going to raise the taxes to try to dig us out of this ridiculous debt we're in. That's not fair. You can't make life a little worse for the hardworking people of Illinois because of all y'all shady dealings over the years. So Rauner was like, I'm going to veto that. That ain't happening. He's like, that's really not fair to the people. Like, why should they be punished for our issues? Because they presented this tax bill and they're trying to do something to get a budget. They need something. They're trying to get a budget, trying to get something in place. And at this point, you got probably a lot of people who would be like, honestly, just do it, just tax us, just get it out the way. But the issue is that I believe it's a permanent tax increase. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be temporary. No, this is a permanent thing, and that's the issue. Temporary, I guess, maybe, but because this is a permanent, that's a problem. And it got me to thinking. And maybe I just need to do research on it. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't even smoke. But I've been to Colorado. And you can read about what the marijuana industry has done for the Colorado, for Colorado. I mean, even when you Google it, I want to say, when was this article written? So this year, February 12th, 2017, marijuana tax revenue has hit $200 million in Colorado as sales pass $1 billion. So, doing some simple math, they made $200 million in tax monies off of $100 billion, not $100 billion, Jesus Christ, off of $1 billion in sales. All right? $1 billion in sales netted them $200 million. If you do the math, that's 1.5 something percent that's being taxed on marijuana sales. Why in the hell can't the state of Illinois legalize recreational marijuana let these dispensaries open up, make jobs for people, because that's what it's going to do. You're going to make jobs all over the place doing different things. You know, there's going to be different jobs for different people. Transportation, people working on the farms, people working, setting, like, there's just going to be all sorts of different job possibilities that'll open up doing this. But I'm pretty sure Colorado's issues are not as extreme as Illinois issues. Colorado is a much better off state compared to our shitty situation. Is Illinois really telling me they couldn't legalize this damn weed, tax it by like 3% or something? I'll look at it right now. If we're doing the exact same, if we're in the exact same situation, I'll do this math right now. Colorado made $1.3 billion in marijuana revenue, and they got $200 million off that. So I'm gonna do 1.3 billion. 1.3 billion times 0.03 gives you 39 mil. Now, of course, that doesn't come anywhere near 5 billion. It doesn't. Of course it doesn't. It doesn't come anywhere near 5 billion. But legalized marijuana will change the landscape of the state. It'll change the landscape of the city. It'll change a lot of things. Because you ain't gonna have people getting arrested for stupid stuff no more. Even though Illinois has lessened the blow on marijuana possession, because you can get caught with a gram nowadays and not much will happen. You know, compared to back in the days, like, oh, you got caught with a gram? Oh, this your third strike? Bye-bye. So, I mean, yeah, that's a huge difference. But it's like, why don't you just do it? Why don't you try it out? With how our state is, you could get away with taxing that at 5%. That's 65 mil. Now, doing the math, it would take a minute. Actually, hold on. I'm doing the math wrong. Hold on. Let me look at this again. I did something wrong in there. Because that should have been more than 65 mil. 1.3 billion times 0.05? Why am I only getting 65 million? Because that's the right number. So I'm doing something wrong. 1.3 billion got them 200 mil. Let me redo this math real quick, because clearly I'm doing something off. Oh, I was way off. My bad. They taxing more than some 1-something percent. They're taxing more of like, I want to say damn near a little under. Let me do this calculation one more time. I know I'm wasting all time right now. They're taxing them at least a little over 15%. That's more realistic. That's how they got in 200 mil off that 1.3 bill. Because I'm like, something throwing me off right now. So, Illinois could easily do 20-25% shit. We can do 20-25% due to the situation. You get what I'm saying? We can do a 25%, get 325 back in that tax. And it's like, you just got to throw it out there. We'll let y'all smoke. We'll let everybody in the state smoke they weed in the comfort of their home. But the tax is going to be this. And of course, if the tax is higher, then, the sellers, that means the price is going to be a little bit higher. But I don't think it's going to be anything further away than from what people are already paying already. Straight up. If I can legally buy marijuana in my state, if I can get a gram for a little under 20, that's okay. Because, usually you can get a gram for, I ain't even going to speak on this, but you can get a gram. Now, if you pay 20 for a gram in Illinois, that's because you ain't got the plug. You just trying to get a gram from a random person. That's the regular going price. The person, it's going to be less than 20. Plus, keep in mind, Illinois ain't selling that quality stuff. Now, once the market becomes full of quality product, everything changes. But y'all telling me Illinois couldn't legalize this, put a 20 to 25% tax on it, and pretty much just let the market stabilize itself? Y'all couldn't do that? It ain't the same as getting $5 billion off of taxes. I know it ain't the same. I know. If you just do marijuana, it will take quite some time longer. But I'd rather have that than all the other stuff that they like to do. Because that tax makes a difference. Going from 3 point something to 5, it may not seem like a huge difference, but it's still money out of people's pockets at the end of the day. It's hard-earned cash coming out of somebody's check. And that's not okay. So, peace.